After years of payment pauses, millions of student loan borrowers are either having to fork over the cash or face the consequences. Earlier this month, the Department of Education began forced collections on defaulted loans, meaning wages, Social Security benefits, and tax refunds could be at stake. Our Queen City News Chief Business Correspondent Taylor Young joining us now. Taylor, it's been 11 days since this has taken effect. Pretty big adjustment for millions of borrowers.
Absolutely, an adjustment for borrowers who just recently started making payments and a wake-up call for those who haven't. So just recently, we have seen a wave of borrowers who are not paying their student loans back, seen a massive drop in their credit scores, in some cases 100, 200 points, and that's really just scratching the surface in terms of some of the repercussions of not paying these loans back right now. But before we kind of get into that, let's kind of start with how this all began, right? Because if you are someone who doesn't have student loans, for those who do, it's been an absolute roller coaster ride. So we have to go back to 2020 when President Trump was in his first presidency. During the midst of the pandemic, he paused all penalties for late student loan payments. Then the Biden administration extended this pause in 2023 and even proposed plans to forgive student loans altogether. This, of course, gave a lot of borrowers a lot of hope, and many stopped making payments. Fast forward to last week, the Trump administration has resumed collection efforts, meaning those who haven't made a payment in 90 days or more are now at risk of having their wages garnished.
Now, this may be the first time that many people are at risk of that. So what does garnishing wages look like? How does the government go about doing that?
Yeah, so it won't be a surprise, or at least it shouldn't be. So the federal government is required to give borrowers a 30-day notice if they are 90 days more or late. And unlike credit card companies, the federal government does not need a court order to do this. So they just need to give you a written warning in the mail, and these notices should have already started going out last week. Now, as for how much money they can take, there is a limit to it. It's 15%, and that's that's after taxes. So 15%, you're not going to see your entire paycheck go away, but that's a big chunk in terms of the money you're making each month and kind of what else can go towards bills after that.
Huge. Aside from readjusting that budget, what else should people do if they get one of these notices?
Well, absolutely don't ignore it. I know it can be really intimidating to probably get one of these notices, but people are being advised to reach out to the Department of Education, make sure you're setting up that payment plan, and there are options to kind of go towards an income-based payment plan, which I do think is a better option than just kind of sitting and ignoring this and potentially having your wages garnished.
What are economists predicting as far as a ripple effect? Like, what comes next after that, whether it's people getting their wages garnished or it's starting those repayments again?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things going on here. So the first one, I think we're going to see a mass tightening of budgets, right? So if, in this case, if you haven't been paying your student loans for 5 years, you may have readjusted your life to that. So maybe you can afford a more expensive apartment or a car. Now you kind of add on this extra couple $100s in bills every month. I mean, you are going to have to, it's going to be a wake-up call for a lot of people. And the matter of fact is that a lot of people are already struggling with bills. So we could see people falling behind on car payments, maybe rent or even mortgages. And I think the second one is just a noticeable decline in consumer spending, right? So, consumers are likely to kind of cut back on that discretionary spending, whether that's shopping, vacations, dining out. And that's going to have an impact on the overall economy. We're talking about sectors like retail, restaurants. I mean, we could, in theory, see some of these businesses maybe lose revenue. They could shut down. They could have layoffs. So this is impacting a far reach more than just people who are paying back their student loans. This could absolutely have a larger economic impact here.
And here we are just 11 days after those collections started again. So I guess we'll have to see in the next coming months. Taylor Young, thank you very much. We appreciate it.